Brought to you by Capital One. That's speed at the top with Kristen White, then Larissa Pruitt, Kenley Cahalan, Jenna Johnson, Marley Giles, Riley Valentine moving up the order for Alabama. She's had a good series. Bailey Dowling homered yesterday. She slides down into the 7th spot. It is 86 degrees. The feel-like temperature is 94. The sun is out, not out right now, which is a concern because there is storminess to the north of us and a little to the west. So we are in the area of potential storms here. Let's hope they stay away for this elimination game between Bama and Tennessee. Gotcha went 3 2/3 yesterday, gave up 4 hits, 2 runs, 1 earned, no walks, 3 strikeouts. And here is White hitting .450 in the NCAA tournament. That's a team best. She has been the spark at the top of the lineup. It was a roller coaster yesterday, had a couple of strikeouts and was pinch hit for when then came back into the game and delivered the key hit in the 14th inning, the ground ball that scored Johnson.
And remember, Coach Patrick Murphy just moved her to the top of the order last weekend down in the Tuscaloosa Regional, and she has just thrived in that leadoff spot. It's almost as if Alabama has rediscovered who they are as an offense in this postseason, relying on the speed up at the top of the order with Kristen White and her ability to get on in a variety of different ways, and then just putting the ball in play, putting the pressure on this Tennessee defense throughout the Super Regional.
Alabama hitting better in the postseason than they did in the regular season. .273 in the NCAAs, and Gotchel gets a strikeout and keeps White off the bases, 1 away. Now there are some significant changes for Tennessee. Look at the strikeout by Gotchel. But you see Julia Katsoyanopoulos back behind the plate, the left-handed catcher who was
today's ball game. Really the focus was on the pitchers in the circle, but often you forget about the catcher having to catch all 14 innings of that ball game too. So Sophia Nugent moving into that DP spot today. Julia Katsoyanopoulos back behind the dish, going to try to control her battery out there tonight.
1-1 the count to Pruitt. 1-2. And when we talked with head coach Karen Weekly about the changes, you'll see the batting order is a little different as well. You'll see that in the bottom half of the first inning. She wanted to stress that it's up to seniors to lead this team in their first elimination game, but also it sounded like it started with the catching position. That was a long day yesterday for Nugent. Katsoyanopoulos, as I mentioned, a lot of experience back behind the plate. 14 starts this year coming into this game here today, was the starting catcher last year. But for Gibson, just her 4th start at first base, and for Pooney, her 1st start at 3rd base for this season comes in the postseason. Ball's not been put in play yet because Gotchel's got a couple of strikeouts, 2 down.
Got the strikeout to Kristen White on a rise ball away. This is one of her off-speed pitches, so coming out of her hand, it looks pretty similar to her curveball or her rise ball that she'll throw outside to the left-handed batters, but that one she turns her wrist over, gets a little bit of down bite on it, along with dropping down in that velocity.
Cahalan lifts it out to left field. Riley West comes on, charging it, and can't make the play, and it's a 2-out single for Cahalan here in the first.
When we talk about these lineup changes, too, for Alabama, it was Kenley Cahalan that was in the leadoff spot for the Crimson Tide majority of the season, and I feel like she's somebody else who has really thrived moving down into that 3 spot, more of a run-producing spot. Likes to get her toes right up on that chalk line, drops it straight in front of Riley West with a nice diving effort out in left field.
Here's Jenna Johnson. Takes strike 1. Johnson 5 for 17 in the NCAA tournament with 4 runs batted in. Spent a lot of time in the leadoff spot this season, batting cleanup here in the NCAA tournament. Part of the changes that Madison mentioned just a moment ago. This is slapped into foul ground and out of play, and it's 0-2. Johnson was 0 for 5 yesterday with the run batted in.
Went with the slap with a runner over at 3rd base to score the first run of the ball game in the first inning of yesterday's ball game.
Ooh, that comes up and hits her. We saw quite a few hit batters yesterday, 8 in all between the two teams, and Johnson's hit here with 2 down in the first.
That pitch there looked like the other off speed, that middle speed that you're going to see from Peyton Gottschall. It's got a bit of rise on it. It's Johnson right on the hands, it looks like.
Batting fifth for Alabama, the catcher number 34, Marley Giles.
Marley Giles catching. You just take a look at Karen Weekly. Working with pitching coach Megan Rhodes-Smith to send the call in to Peyton Gottschall. And she is hit by a pitch. So back-to-back hit batters by Gottschall, who struck out White, struck out Pruitt, gave up the single to Cahalan. Now the bases are loaded.
It's another rise ball that just gets away from her. Marley Giles starts off with the plate pretty deep into that box. Maybe just gets her on that left hand. Already some early action in that Tennessee bullpen. Carlin Pickens out there standing up, starting to get loose. You mentioned it in the open, Eric, too, with these elimination games. It is absolutely all hands, all arms on deck with your season on the line.
Pickens yesterday threw 129 pitches. She threw 101 in game one. So that brings a total to 11 hit batters in this super regional between the two teams.
Had eight hit batters in yesterday's game alone, 4 on each side.
Riley Valentine moving up from the 8th spot in the lineup, hitting 6th with the bases loaded, and she takes ball given up by Pickens. Valentine lifts one deep to left. West is going back at the track at the wall, and it is gone! Grand slam, Riley Valentine!
Into today's ball game, Eric, you and I were talking about the hot hitters in this Alabama lineup, and one of the ones that stuck out to us besides Kristen White was Riley Valentine, and the way that she has been swinging the bat ever since that pinch hit home run in the Tuscaloosa Regional last weekend, and she comes up big in this situation, bases loaded. She knows that Peyton Gottschall doesn't want to hit another batter. 2 away, Alabama, a grand slam to put them up big in this elimination game on Sunday. Look how fired up the rest of her teammates are, knowing just how big it is to get up early in this ball game.
And her head coach in the third base coach's box. Riley's main job in the dugout has been keeping things loose. She's been the keeper of the palm tree and everything connected with it in the rally worm, but when she's had her chance in the batter's box, she has delivered 7 of 15 now with a couple of home runs and 8 runs batted in the NCAA tournament.
And she's been spraying the ball all over the field. Even yesterday's ball game against Carlin Pickens in the circle, smoked a ball down the left field line and then was inches away from ending the game with a home run off of the right field wall.
And the little move in the lineup pays off here for Patrick Murphy, moving Valentine up from the 8th spot in the lineup, because you said swinging on top of things, one of those bats in a series where it's been hard to generate offense, 2-3-2 scores in 21 innings of play over 2 games. Valentine's at-bats have stood out, and she has put this team on top 4-0 and just still
hugging everybody.
Congratulations. Yes, everybody gets a hug, gets a high five, gets an explanation. Bailey Dowling at the plate now. Quickly things changed here. 2 strikeouts to start and then a couple of hit batters.
But this is an Alabama team that thrives hitting with 2 outs. Last weekend they batted .433 as a team with 2 outs. And here they are again in this first inning. They get to 2 outs. They continue to fight in the inning and end up with a grand slam after a couple of hit batters.
(3-2) the count to Dowling. That misses for ball 4. So the third free pass of the inning. Again, 2 strikeouts, then a hit for Cahalan. Hit batter, grand slam.
Just stacking together the quality at-bats for Alabama. Even that right there, that walk to Bailey Dowling, so patient on pitches on that outside part of the zone. She had a home run off of Peyton Gottschall yesterday. It was a rise ball practically up at her helmet.
Well, it's important for Gottschall to dig in here for Tennessee. Just keep it right here and hope that the Tennessee bats can go to work. This is a lineup that has been hot and cold at times down the stretch. We saw how good they could be in the Knoxville Regional against Virginia and Dayton, but it's been a different story against Beaver and Brisky for Alabama.
They just haven't been able to put together those consistent quality at-bats, and even in game one where they got the win, they were actually out-hit by Alabama in that ball game.
3-0. Lauren Essman got the start yesterday after a pinch hit in game one. She's got a couple of hits in the NCAA tournament.
The pinch hit, base hit up the middle was off of Peyton Gottschall as well, and this infield too, sensing that things are speeding up for Gottschall in the circle, calling time, just trying to slow things back down, remind her to keep pounding the strike zone, let them work behind her.
We'll continue to update as weather conditions change.
Here's the one thing that could slow Alabama down. You may have heard in the background the public address announcer announcing to the sold-out crowd here that there is weather in the area. It's not in the 8-mile radius. Lightning is not in the 8-mile radius, which would stop the game. They're saying that there's the potential for it to be in the area, to be prepared to take shelter if we get there. So there is a weather warning here in Knoxville. Right now, it's 4-0 Alabama, and Essman hammers that foul. It's 3-2.
You can see the wind starting to pick up too, just taking a look at some of the flags that we've got here at the field, all blowing out towards center field. That communication for the outfielders or even the infielders on those high fly balls with this weather circulating around the stadium is going to be so important for everybody to be talking to each other to make sure they can get those outs on the fly balls.
3-2. Called strike three. So Gottschall ends up getting her 3 outs by way of strikeout.
Trying to mix things up to see if she can get her offense going in this elimination game.
First pitch was 4:05. Our weather delay began at 4:18 p.m. So a 2-hour and 57-minute delay as Kiki Malloy steps in for Tennessee and takes ball one. Malloy was 3 for 5 and a couple of walks in yesterday's 14-inning game, 5 for 14 in the tournament. 1-1. We had lightning in the area at 4:18, but 4 minutes after that, 4:22, it started the rain. They hustled onto the field, got the tarp out there. You can see they've been working on the field, trying to throw in some drying agent. So there's going to be a couple of slow spots on the dirt and certainly some slick spots on the grass.
It didn't rain for very long, but it did rain enough to get the grass just slightly wet. And what that's going to do when the balls are hit out there, the ball has a tendency to speed or skip along the grass, but it's also going to be difficult for those outfielders to get a good grip on the softball. If the ball is hit out there, you're going to have to keep an eye on, one, them fielding the ball with the wet grass, but also those throws back into the infield.
And there was a lot of lightning in the area. The heaviest storms were north and south of us, but we did get hit a little bit, and we could see a lot of lightning. And a lightning start for Brisky. Gets the strikeout of Malloy to get things going in the first.
Looks like Brisky's a little amped up out there in the circle, pumping in 67, 68 miles per hour. She sets up this rise ball with the drop balls low and inside early in this at-bat, so she gets Kiki Malloy thinking she's going to continue to work down in the zone, then busts that rise ball up and out of the zone.
Ball one to Riley West, 5 for 16 in the NCAA tournament. 2 home runs, 9 runs batted in. West had been down in the 5 spot. Malloy's a grad student, West a senior, Pooney a senior, Gibson's a veteran, Nugent's a junior. This is a one-hopper to Hevelin at second base on the first to Essman and quickly 2 are down. We asked Karen Weekly about the lineup change, and she said when you're facing an elimination game, I want my seniors at the top of the lineup to set the tone because there's going to be some urgency there.
She's wanting them to set the tone and also wanting to see them make those consistent adjustments that she just has not seen from her team throughout the Super Regional. They're all right-handed bats, so you know that they're constantly communicating within the game about what they're seeing from the opposing pitcher. But they just have not been able to put things together, create that solid contact that we've seen from this offense at times throughout this season.
0-2 the count to Pooney at 281 on the season, 12 homers, 38 runs batted in. She was the only leadoff batter to reach base for Tennessee in the 14-inning game. When she walked leading off the 8th inning, that's it. Tennessee just could not get threats going. And then when they got runners on base, Madison, as Pooney looks at ball one, they left 18 on base, 8 in scoring position, and 4 at third base.
A lot of weak fly ball outs, a lot of weak ground ball outs yesterday against Kayla Beaver.
Off speed, Brisky, great start with the 4-0 lead, gets the strikeout. One, we saw White, Pruitt, Cahalan, Johnson, Giles, Valentine, Dowling, and Essman in the first inning as Alabama sent 8 to the plate. It's the number 9 hitter, Callie Hevelin, who leads off and sees strike one from Peyton Gottschall. Hevelin played a key role in the game yesterday in the win for Alabama in that 14th inning. Time is called. Katsoyanopoulos behind the plate, maybe just needing a moment. They're going to keep the batter here. Hevelin said, I got hit by the pitch. And now the plate umpire is going to keep her at home plate, saying that perhaps she was over the plate when she got hit.
A couple of different things that they could be discussing here. One, did the home plate umpire call it a foul ball, or did he call her leaning over and out of the box to get hit by this pitch? Let's take another look at it here by Callie Hevelin. From that view, it looks like it gets her on the wrist, but the ball is maybe right on that chalk line as she initiates that swing.
Alabama is challenging the position of the ball when it hits the batter. Previous play is under review.
So I think that was Don Brown saying the position of the ball. So I think the argument is from the home plate umpire saying that she was hit by the pitch while she was over the plate. And, of course, Gottschall is entitled to the strike zone.
Absolutely.
So that's why he brought her back. So Patrick Murphy is going to use a challenge here in the second inning.
And as a batter, you have a right to the batter's box. You don't have to move out of the way of the pitch when it's inside the batter's box, but you can't lean outside of the batter's box to get hit by the pitch. Clearly, to me, looks like it hits her on the wrist. So no doubt she's hit by the pitch.
And that was part of the announcement saying that being hit by the pitch or where her position was. Now the question is, from that angle, and it's a little off center as we know, can you tell if she is over the plate? That's going to be
close on the inside part of the plate.
So the count should be 1-1 as Hevelin steps back in. Now, important to note, because we saw quite a few challenges yesterday, Alabama has used one. It was unsuccessful, so they have one challenge remaining here as we're just getting started, second inning after the long delay. Hevelin with a fly ball to right center field. Kiki Malloy drifts over and puts it away for out number 1. So we're back to the top of the order, and Kristen White is at the plate, and she has done a job against Tennessee.
One of the few batters in the nation that can say they've had success against Carlin Pickens this season. This was a game-winning hit in Game 3 of their regular season series. And then last night, the walk-off hit to keep their season alive. Similar-looking balls that were put in play by Kristen White. She is so good at getting that hang time on those chop slaps to the infield where, as a defender, you just feel helpless because you have to just sit there, wait for that ball to come down as you're seeing Kristen White speed down that first base line.
1-1 to White. White struck out, leading things off against Gottschall in the first. In that regular season series against Tennessee, Tennessee won via shutout the first 2 games in Tuscaloosa. Then Alabama won 1-0 on that White hit. That's out of play. Kristen was 4 for 6 in that Tennessee series. So since the start of that series, she's hitting .389. Part of the reason why Patrick Murphy made the change, put her up at the top of the lineup, because she was finding ways to find hits.
Just seems like something's clicked with the way that her barrel's even coming through that zone, staying on top of the ball.
Getting a piece. Now, I mentioned before, one of the discussions we had for about 3 hours after the game yesterday. So the game was 4.5 hours. We went on to talk about it for another 3 hours, maybe more. how Tennessee handled the 14th inning. They intentionally walked Hevelin to load the bases with nobody out to face Kristen White. White takes a ball. We saw what happened. It worked out for Alabama and not for Tennessee. And you and I debated back and forth, well, do you pitch to Hevelin, who is struggling in the number 9 spot, try to get an out, maybe walk White, maybe try your chances with White? But we talked with both coaches, and Patrick Murphy agreed, and no change for Karen Weekly. That's a throw by Cooney over to first to Gibson for the out. Karen Weekly said she'd do the same thing, and Patrick Murphy said in a similar situation he would have walked the bases loaded just to have that force out.
Yeah, both of them responded very quickly to go ahead and walk Callie Hevelin, who was in the 9 spot, to get to Kristen White, all because you're trying to eliminate the need to apply a tag at the plate. The force play is a lot easier out to get when it comes to those bases loaded, game-winning situations. And my argument, as we sat there for 3 hours and got to stew over it after the game yesterday, it might have been longer. We might have still been continuing the discussion into the morning, was thinking about it from a defender standpoint. The odds that Kristen White gets that high chopper seem to be higher than Callie Hevelin. If she were to put a ball in play, it might be more of a sharp ground ball to your infielder, so then do you have more time to apply the tag at the plate? Versus that high chop that we saw from Kristen White that she has just been phenomenal doing over the past couple of months.
Well, she's beat Tennessee with it twice.
And she got another base hit off of Carlin Pickens earlier in that ball game with a similar chop to shortstop.
1-2 the count to Larissa Pruitt, who struck out in the first. Then there's the mindset, the competitor piece that we heard from Kristen White in our post-game interview after the win, where she said when they walked Callie, she was kind of happy about it.
She was glad they walked him. Yeah, yes. She was glad that they walked Callie Hevelin to get to her. She was embracing that moment, wanted to be in that batter's box.
Good fight here by Pruitt against Gottschall.
And I'd imagine, too, that the at-bats that she had against Pickens in the regular season contributed to the confidence that she had in that moment to be able to come through for her team. Remember, before that game-winning hit in Game 3, she came in and pinch hit in Game 2 and broke up the no-hitter that Carlin Pickens was throwing down in Tuscaloosa.
Another 1-2. Fly ball to Malloy. She's got it. It's a 1-2-3 inning for Gottschall. 4-0 Bama.
On the chips. Also go for the most saturated chip first. The discussions that we have during rain delays, right?
You can see some of the numbers here for Game 3. I would love to bring that graphic back in a second, because the only thing I wanted to say is just clip off that analysis when you submit it to the Emmy committee for consideration for Best Television Analysis.
Absolutely. Nachos.
All right, so what can we tell by the trends of the past here going into a Game 3? Because we've got 5 Game 3s today across the softball world. One already claimed by the Florida Gators, so they'll have an SEC team in Oklahoma City and one more SEC team from this regional. The one that I think of when you think about this format is the host teams have won the Super Regional 74% of the time, and if you win Game 1, you have an 81% success rate, 2-1 the count to Gibson. You see the 4 teams already with their tickets punched to OKC starting Thursday on ESPN. Gibson lays off, and it's 3-1. Last year, Alabama lost Game 1 in the Super Regional. Tuscaloosa came back and won back-to-back games. So I think Alabama's like, your trends and your stats,
throw them out.
Flush them. Throw them out. Down and in on Gibson, and it's 3-2.
Well, even looking at this offense, too, and we've talked about it coming into this Super Regional about how they've redefined themselves as more of a small ball kind of offense, and Riley Valentine with the grand slam.
Nothing small about that. Gibson left side. Dowling backs up on it. Plenty of time to get the out. One away here in the second. Well, does the mindset flip, or do you try to just treat it like another game when you are facing elimination for a first time? It's happened for Alabama already here in this tournament. This is a first for Tennessee this year.
You've got to just try to channel all of those negative thoughts and energies into something positive. And I always tried to say, you channel it into focus, and maybe it's focus into a particular game plan, or if you're a pitcher, focus into one individual pitch, because if you start thinking about all the outside noise, what's at stake, that's when things can start to snowball away from you.
1-1 to Sophia Nugent, 272 on the season with 11 home runs. Her 11th home run of the season came yesterday. Early in that game by comparison to how long that game went on.
Both home runs yesterday came in the 4th inning, and then we did not see any scoring for over 3 hours, 3 hours and 28 minutes, I believe.
That was the official tally that our crew came up with. 3 hours and 28 minutes later is when Lauren Johnson scored the winning run. 2-2 to Nugent. And how about that button pushing with White at the plate? Johnson had a pinch hit single in the 14th inning to get things started. Her first at bat of the NCAA tournament. High fly ball, foul ground. Breeze, since the storm passed through, is pushing more towards third base than towards center field. And Johnson started that 14th inning with a single. Valentine had the double. Hevelin intentionally walked, and Kristen White ended it in the 14th inning to finish off the longest game in super regional history. There's that Brisky change, well done by Nugent just to get a piece.
It's a really good swing adjustment, because out of the hand, that's when she was able to pick that one up, and you saw her let go with her bat, let go with that top hand to get that last bit of extension just to get a piece on that off-speed pitch.
Grounded to Cahalan at short. 2 down.
Brisky doing a nice job in this ball game of moving the ball all throughout the strike zone. We've seen her throw rise balls. We've seen her throw drop balls to both sides of the plate, and she continues to use that change.
We talked to both head coaches before the game, asking about the availability of the pitchers who threw so much yesterday. As you take a look at the pitching coach for Alabama, Lance McMahon, it was Pickens and Beaver, who went toe-to-toe inning after inning. This is grounded to Dowling. Both pitchers are available, but if Jocelyn Brisky is pitching this way for Alabama, it's her game right now.
Alabama last season, and just to show her how much she means to the program.
Cahalan with a soft liner out of the reach of Mueller. She leads off with a single here in the 3rd for Bama.
Coach Patrick Murphy gave the lineup card from their last win in the Tuscaloosa Regional before the Super Regional, gave the lineup card to Jayla Torrance just to show her how much she's meant to this program and how big she has been for this Alabama team, not just last year, but this year and her entire career. As Kinley Cahalan starts off this inning with another base hit, KJ Haney cheering her on in that dugout.
Cahalan now 2 for 2. The bunt. Cooney looks for the force and gets it just in time. No protest from Cahalan. 1 away.
Really nice defense there by Zeta Pooney. We mentioned the defensive changes. Zeta Pooney started at third base quite a bit last year for Tennessee. This year has not started there much. Throws that ball over to second base, gets the lead runner. That's a risky play, and all about that internal clock that you have on whether or not you've got enough time to get that runner at 2.
Another aggressive swing. Marley Giles swings at the first pitch, and a fly ball to left. West comes on for it. 2 down. If you're just joining us, Pooney getting the start. Actually, Maddie, this is her first start of 2024. She subbed in the series against Virginia in the regional round. She was a regular third in the past. That's been McKenna Gibson's spot at third. Gibson's over at first because the usual first baseman, Julia Katsoyanopoulos, is catching after the long couple of days here yesterday for Sophia Nugent, who's in there at DP.
Looks like he's calling that one a foul ball.
Yeah,
telling Jenna Johnson to go back to first base.
Turning the base runner to first as Valentine was, well, that's off the elbow. But the question is,
was it elbow or the knob?
I thought it was the elbow guard, but your eyesight is a lot better than mine.
I don't know if I'd go that far.
I just was seeing if you're paying attention. Yes.
You didn't see Riley Valentine hustling out of the box,
No.
too?
You and your context clues. 0-2. Out of play. This is what happened in the first inning. After the first two struck out for Alabama, they loaded the bases, and then they were unloaded by Riley Valentine.
After back-to-back hit batters, Peyton Gottschall fell behind 1-0 to Riley Valentine. So I love the aggressive swing and that hitter leverage count going after that curveball.
You talked about it earlier. If folks are just joining us, what have you noticed with Valentine and why she's clicked? Because she's moved up in the lineup here by Patrick Murphy, up from the 8th spot to the 6th spot.
I just feel like she's had really solid at-bats, and she's been able to hit the ball with authority to all fields. We've seen her pull balls down the left field line. We saw her smoke a ball out to the wall in the right center gap. And, of course, that grand slam that she had over the wall in left field in the first inning of this ball game. I just feel like she's somebody that is seeing the ball incredibly well up at the plate. You can see that from her swings, but also from some of the takes that she's had in the box.
7 for 15 in the NCAA tournament with 2 home runs, but down she goes here as Gottschall settles in.
Speaks to the pitching that you're seeing on both sides for both teams. The duo, of course, of Peyton Gottschall and Carlin Pickens for Tennessee, and then for Bama, Jocelyn Brisky and Kayla Beaver.
0-2 to Laura Mueller, who was hitting 9th. She's hitting 7th today. 4 for 15 with a home run in the NCAA tournament. Mueller goes to right field. This is slicing away from the right fielder, Pruitt, and off the wall. Mueller to second, and Tennessee has the leadoff hitter aboard for just the 3rd time in this Super Regional.
After Laura Mueller falls behind in this at-bat, 0-2, she just hacks at this pitch up in the zone. Actually a rise ball up and outside. Really good barrel positioning going through at that pitch, driving it down that right field line. Able to get into second base easily with that leadoff double. Her swing is just so conducive to drilling those rise balls up in the zone so far this season against right-handed pitchers that throw rise balls, batting .375 on the season against those pitches.
Fifth hit of the NCAA tournament for Mueller. Here is Katsoyanopoulos. Like more of a attempt to bunt her way on instead of trying to move Mueller over.
And she showed that one pretty late, trying to force it to go down the third base line towards where Bailey Dowling's playing.
We talked earlier about Tennessee struggling to get runners home. They've had their opportunities. They are 2 for 15 with runners in scoring position. Katsoyanopoulos takes it, 2-1. Senior 264 on the season, 3 homers, 16 runs batted in. 1 for 5 with a walk yesterday. 2-2. Brisky gets the strikeout, 1 away.
The setup here in this at-bat to Katsoyanopoulos is what leads to that strikeout up in the zone. She gets her thinking down in the zone with the drop balls, and then the location here up at the helmet. As a batter, when you're seeing the ball consistently down, you're telling yourself to see the ball up, but that's exactly what Jocelyn Brisky wants you to think. That's how she gets those swings and misses at the rise ball after throwing so many drop balls early in the account.
So far, 6 times there's been swing and miss for Tennessee against Brisky. Karen Weekly making a change here. Bella Faw getting the start today at second base. She struggled at the plate this season in her 22 starts before suffering an injury. But Faw really good in the field. She was good in the field yesterday, so part of the reason why Karen Weekly gave her the start. But Destiny Rodriguez, good hitter, comes on to pinch hit here in the 3rd.
I wouldn't be surprised here if we see Jocelyn Brisky really try to work the rise balls up in the zone to Destiny Rodriguez, because when you look at her swing and the way that she's able to drop barrel behind her, use her legs, she is so good at hitting drop balls down in the zone. First two pitches of this at-bat have both been rise balls up. You could tell just by those takes. She's looking for something down. She is hunting one of those drop balls. She's batting .483 against right-handed drop balls this season.
Swings at the 2-0 and squibs it to first. 2 down.
Aggressive swing 2-0. You could tell she was hunting it down, but that pitch with the arm side run to it is what leads to that ground ball to the right side. She was trying to stay inside of that pitch, but Brisky's got just a little extra juice on that drop ball inside to these righties.
Here's Malloy with Mueller at third. 2-0, obviously 3-1, great hitters counts, but you have to swing at your pitch and not the pitcher's pitch.
Absolutely, and that was a great spot for that drop ball low and in. Same location right there that Kiki Malloy just took. That's one of those situations where as a batter you go ahead and you tip your cap to the pitcher because you don't want to swing at that because that's not a pitch that you can do damage on, especially if you're not hunting it.
2-1. Malloy struck out leading off things in the first for Tennessee. Trying to get the Lady Vols on the board. 2-2. We saw Brisky get Pooney on the changeup to end the first inning. Does she throw the change here? Nope. Malloy gets a piece.
That was the first pitch of this at-bat, too. That was on the outer half of the plate. Everything else has been inside to Kiki Malloy in that at-bat.
Malloy calls time for a conference with hitting coach Chris Malveaux and head coach Karen Weekly listening as well.
I don't have an official stat on it, but I feel like those timeouts are called when they get to 2 strikes really often, trying to strategize what to look for in these 2-strike counts. Good take there by Kiki Malloy.
And also slow things down a little bit. Try to take the pitcher out of the rhythm.
Changing the pace of play.
3-2. Brisky does it again. A strikeout to end the inning. Play free like you have nothing to lose. We watch you sprinting to home on game-winning plays. I think you're trying to set the tone with this loose feeling, Murph.
Hey, one of these days I'm going to slide head first, too, away from the plate, but I'm going to.
What's the vibe been like for this team right now, Patrick?
Well, you know, Maddie knows this, but every kid plays summer ball all her life, and they go through these rain delays all the time. So the rain delay, not a big deal. You know, we're used to them at Alabama. So, you know, they got together in the soccer clubhouse, and Tennessee was nice enough to let us use that, and everybody's pretty loose.
Coach Brisky getting the start for you guys, the freshman. We've seen both pitchers for you in each one of the first 2 games of this Super Regional. What are you liking out of her performance so far today?
Really good movement on the ball. You know, when she can get Kiki twice, that doesn't happen. You know, she's one of the best hitters in the country, and Brisky's ball is really moving. I like the low down spin. The only mistake was the 0-2 to Mueller. That she got a double on it. That was supposed to be a drop out of the zone, and obviously it wasn't. But she's a competitor. She's gritty. She's resilient, and she has a great poker face on the mound. I love her to death.
Patrick, we appreciate it, and I did write down for posterity that you will slide head first at one point. So
all right.
We'll hold you to that.
Hey, all right. May 26th. Thanks for being here.
Gotcha. Well, you've seen just staying loose like they are right there. We've talked about the inflatable palm tree, the rally worm. What else? We've got the
chickens.
Gerald and Floppy, the rubber chickens.
Rubber chickens, yes.
They're just trying to keep everything loose. And now getting loose in the circle, Tennessee's going to make a change here right before the start of the 4th inning. Carlin Pickens is getting loose now for Tennessee. So Peyton Gotchel was out in the circle, and a move just made for Pickens.
Interesting with the timing, too, because Peyton Gotchel had gotten all the way out to the circle. Looked like she was about to start this top of the 4th inning before Coach Karen Weekly makes this pitching change, bringing in Carlin Pickens now. Drastic difference in approach for these batters, having to face Pickens after facing Gottschall through the first 3 innings of this ball game, and now they're going to have to deal with the straight velocity that Carlin Pickens is going to bring in there, consistently going to throw the ball in the low to mid-70s with that late sharp bite down in the zone. But she did tally up quite a few pitches in yesterday's 14-inning ball game. One of the questions coming into this game was who both of these coaches were going to start in the circle. Got that good movement. That changeup, too, has been a difference maker for Carlin Pickens throughout this season.
Pickens pitched 9 1/3 yesterday, 129 pitches, 10 strikeouts, 3 walks. Season on the line for Tennessee. She's out there to start the 4th inning and facing Bailey Dowling, who walked against Gottschall in the first. First pitch from Pickens. And there for strike 1. The SEC Pitcher of the Year was the tough luck loser yesterday in that 3-2 Alabama win in 14. Dowling sends it to right field. That's slicing and just foul.
Thought it was interesting that Carlin Pickens started off this at-bat with a changeup for strike 1, but you could tell that Bama is looking for that fastball, trying to time up that 74-mile-per-hour pitch. Smokes that one foul for strike number 2. Switching the armbands. Pitching coach Megan Rhodes-Smith coming out just to make sure that her pitcher's getting the right signals from the dugout.
Maybe the first pitch wasn't supposed to be a change.
It went in there for a strike, so you'll take it.
Why is Carlin throwing a change? She throws 76.
It was a good one, though.
Yeah. Count is 0-2 to Dowling. Dowling with that walk in the first adds to her on-base total. She's had a good NCAA tournament, 7 for 18, 4 runs batted in, including yesterday's home run, a couple of doubles as well. Change up, fouled off. Count holds it 0-2. That skipped up there for a ball.
Lost the grip of that pitch.
Oh, sorry, Maddie. I think we both understood, and you can assume you're going to see the aces. You're going to see Carlin Pickens. You're going to see Kayla Beaver. The question is when we saw them, what time in the game, but also what kind of stuff they had after such great efforts yesterday. Fly ball to right, put away by Panel. Dowling is retired.
And to that point, Eric, the first thing that I'm looking for is the velocity, too, from Pickens, seeing where it's at, if it's going to stay there consistently. That last pitch to Bailey Dowling at 74 miles per hour, so the velocity looks good. Kayla Beaver up in that bullpen.
She's got her game face on and she's biting her nails, so the nervousness is being channeled right now.
But listening to both of those players after yesterday's ball game, they are ready whenever their name's called today. Doesn't matter how many pitches they throw through in yesterday's ball game. Both of them know just how much is at stake in this Game 3 of the Super Regional. Kayla Beaver making her opinions known from the bullpen about the strike zone.
Esman fouls it off. Struck out looking against Gottschall in the first. They look so nervous in that Alabama dugout. Just past the top of the hour here in Knoxville, Tennessee. We welcome those of you joining us here for this elimination game. The winner moves on to the Women's College World Series. Alabama and Tennessee, the longtime SEC rivals. Eric Freed and the Tennessee All-American Madison Shipman here with you. It was a great start for Alabama. Riley Valentine with a grand slam in the first, giving Alabama a 4-0 lead as we play here in the fourth. Back to Carlin Pickens on in relief. Picks it, throws to first. 2 down as Lauren Esman is retired. This is an Alabama team that struggled to hit throughout the season. They were slumping down the stretch. They lost 6 of their last 8 games before the NCAA tournament, but kind of just tried to find the fun, tried to get a little loose, and that's carried them here to this Game 3 in Knoxville.
They found the fun, they found the change in the order, they found some of that short game, that small ball that they've been able to work to their advantage, change the lineup a bit, putting Kristen White up at the top to really set the tone for everybody else. And Eric, I find it fascinating that as a team, when you come together and you decide, hey, we're going to be small ball, we're going to put the ball in play, then all of a sudden the home runs show up. You get the grand slam by Riley Valentine in the first inning, the home run by Bailey Dowling yesterday.
1-1 to Callie Hevelin, number 9 hitter, with 2 down here in the 4th. Peyton Gotchel got the start for Tennessee and was relieved here at the start of the 4th inning by Carlin Pickens, the SEC Pitcher of the Year, who falls behind 2-1. Pickens, in the 14-inning game yesterday, came on in relief, went the final 9 1/3, gave up 5 hits, 1 run in the 14th inning as Alabama walked it off.
I think that foul ball might have gotten a piece of Julia Katsoyanopoulos back behind the plate.
So our plate umpire, Mike Burwell, trying to buy a little time for Carlin Pickens' battery mate, getting the start here today for Tennessee behind the plate. It has been Sophia Nugent, but instead Nugent's in the designated player spot, and Katsoyanopoulos gets her 15th start behind the plate. Blooped to first and put away by Gibson. It's a 1-2 with us pregame. Share with the viewers your thought behind getting some of your upperclassmen up in the top of the lineup.
Well, you know, this is the time of year that the upperclassmen, the seniors, you know, they're playing for their softball careers, and they've got a lot invested in this program. And I just wanted to get them all up there at the top and told them lead the way for us.
And Coach, we spoke before the game too just about some of the adjustments you were wanting your offense to see throughout this Super Regional, but what are you seeing the first time through against Brisky that you want to see the second time through?
Yeah, not a whole lot. I mean, you know, I think we know what our plan is, but we get up there and I don't know if we're getting anxious or we think we're seeing something different, but, you know, we're not really swinging at the pitches that we want to swing at. So we've got to do a better job of getting those pitches early, and then when we get to 2 strikes, we're doing a lot of chasing right now.
Karen, we appreciate your time as always.
Thank you.
Karen Weekly, 1,085 wins now at Tennessee. Back-to-back regular season championships in the SEC, trying to get this team back to the Women's College World Series. They got there last year, and the first team they played in Oklahoma City last year was, guess who? Alabama.
Postseason tradition. Tennessee, Alabama matching up in the NCAA tournament.
Riley West to lead things off here in the 4th. And she takes strike 1.
Heard Coach Weekly just talking about how maybe they're not looking or swinging at the right pitch early in the at-bat, chasing later on in the at-bat. We've seen a lot of swings and misses on those rise balls way up and out of the zone.
1-1.
There's been a couple of at-bats where you could tell Tennessee's hunting the pitches low, but it's the locations that Brisky's been able to throw them, not just low, but with the run inside on the right-handed batters, all of the righties that are in the lineup for Tennessee.
Foul off for strike 2, Maddie.
It's a prime example right there. That foul ball, when she's going after that pitch, can tell that she's going after it because it's low in the zone. She knows she's going to see a lot of drop balls from Brisky, but it's that late movement in right at the knees where they're not able to get barrel inside that pitch enough to drive it fair, so it ends up just being a foul ball down in the dirt.
1-2 the count. Line shot foul. Brisky has been excellent so far as Tennessee's trying to solve the freshman from Phoenix, who threw 4 innings yesterday, gave up 5 hits, a couple of runs, a walk, threw 49 pitches after throwing 13 pitches in game 1 of the Super Regional. Patrick Murphy going with the freshman here with the season on the line. This is a line shot, glove by Hevelin, who pulls it down. 1 away. That has got to feel great for Callie Haviland, who has had a couple of plays she would like back in the field during the Super Regional. That one was stellar.
This one is just smoked off of the bat of Riley West, and look at the way that Callie Haviland jumps up, times this one perfectly, robs her of a base hit. Off of the bat, I thought that was a base hit all the way, but Callie Haviland says, not today, I'm snagging this one.
Maybe extra bases too, Maddie, because we talked about it before. We had a rain delay here of nearly 3 hours, and the outfield is damp. If that ball skips in the outfield, maybe it gets to the wall, and you've got a double. Pop fly, left side. The shortstop calls for it. Cahalan's got it to retire Pooney. Quickly, 2 down. The Women's College World Series back in Oklahoma City this week. The action begins Thursday at noon Eastern, live on ESPN. For more information on the 2024 Women's College World Series, go to NCAA.com, the official online home for all 90 NCAA championships. Madison Shipman will be part of our broadcast crew there. Work in the studio, Daniel Laurie and Pam Ward.
It's always so much fun to just be a part of that Women's College World Series, and I've always said it, visual representation of the growth of softball. Just look at that stadium.
Gibson ground ball past Cahalan for a 2-out single. Gibson's got her 7th hit of the NCAA tournament. It comes with 2 down in the 4th.
Tennessee putting some better barrels on the ball in this inning. Riley West, of course, with that hardline drive over to the right side, and now McKenna Gibson driving that one back up the middle. Still got on top just a bit, but hits it on the meat part of the barrel, so she's able to drive it with enough authority for a 2-out base hit.
Nugent takes strike 1. Got some stirring in the bullpen, and yes, the ace of the Alabama staff, Caleb Beaver, who threw 165 pitches yesterday in her 10 innings of shutout relief work, getting loose for Bama.
She was outstanding, just continuing to grind away in that ball game, pitch after pitch after pitch. Same for Carlin Pickens, too, coming in relief for Tennessee. Both of them just battling, just trying to stay in the game to give their offenses a chance to score and win the ball game. And ultimately ends up being Bama that comes out on top in the bottom of the 14th inning.
2-1 to Nugent. 3-1. Brisky has been outstanding so far. Gave up the hard double to Mueller. It was on an 0-2 pitch. That was a mistake, and Patrick Murphy referenced that before. Now a 2-out single to Gibson after a really good play by Haviland on a hard hit ball. So the signs are there that maybe Brisky's second time through the lineup isn't as sharp. With that in mind, here comes the pitching coach for Alabama, Lance McMahon, for a conversation in the circle.
That was something she did so well the first time through the order, was locating that drop.
Nugent at first and 2 down, and Beaver
Running for UP on second, number 88, Amanda Allen.
still getting loose.
Take the bat for the Lady Vols, right fielder number 3.
Here's Taylor Panel, who had been in the number 2 spot in the lineup, now batting 6th here tonight. Rounded out to 3rd her first time. And this is sent down the 3rd, and Dowling will step on the bag, and just like that, the threat is over for Tennessee. That game and the game here tonight, 11 meetings in the last 2 seasons between these two teams. This is number 11.
So much familiarity between these in-conference opponents, and you just mentioned all the games that they've had in the NCAA tournament, but playing in those regular season series too. There's a lot of at-bats that both of these teams have against these opposing pitchers, a lot of information that they're taking with them when they step into that batter's box.
White pops it to the shortstop, Mueller. 1 away. Well, Caleb Rowe, who's the assistant coach now for Alabama, first base coach for this Alabama team. You guys had your battles back in the day, and she said when you guys played back in 2011, 2012, 2013, that era right around there. I know you didn't overlap completely the whole time because you're much older than she is. She said you guys played a ton in those days as well. And there was a lot of animosity as well.
Yeah, we wanted to beat Alabama every single time that we stepped foot on the field, and Alabama wanted to beat Tennessee every single time that they stepped onto the field. And there's Caleb Rowe's favorite picture that she has over me with her championship rings dangling in front of the camera. And Yeah, we got close in 2013, but weren't able to come away with that.
You were in the
national
arena.
championship.
Matt.
Yes,
You were
we
in the
were.
arena.
We were.
Here's Lauren Johnson, who got a pinch hit single to get things going in the 14th inning yesterday. So the backstory on that is Lauren hadn't had an at-bat, freshman, sister of Jenna Johnson, hadn't had an at-bat in the NCAA tournament. And Alabama was looking for hits, looking for something to happen. And after the 13th inning, Patrick Murphy told us before the game that he gathered the team together and said what?
Who can get a hit? Who can get a hit, quite simply? And he said the first person to raise their hand was Lauren Johnson. So he puts her in a pinch hit situation. She goes up there. The very first pitch that she sees from Carlin Pickens smokes it down that left field line.
And then scored the winning run later in the 14th inning. That's fouled off of Katsoyanopoulos.
Second time
Yeah,
today.
she
that
is
she's
not
taken a
enjoying
foul
her
ball.
return to the spot behind the plate so far.
Lauren Johnson goes for the bunt. Oh, just hits her square on that thigh.
Katsoyanopoulos was forced into the starting role at catcher last year because Tennessee had a need. She had not played catcher. Her natural position is first base. Laughing about it now. But stepped up in that position and played it well for this Tennessee team. Swung on and missed. Strikeout for Pickens, 2 down.
Ton of changeups thrown in that at-bat to Lauren Johnson, and all of that has to do with her coming up hacking in the first pitch in yesterday's ball game. So she says, if you're going to be aggressive, I'm going to go ahead and pull the string. 64-mile-per-hour changeup for the strikeout for Pickens.
Starts with a changeup for strike one to Cahalan, who's 2 for 2 tonight.
Seeing her throw more and more of those since coming into the ball game. Yesterday, she was throwing quite a few of them. Every once in a while, she would not get the timing quite right on the release, so it wouldn't hit the strike zone. But she's been pinpoint with that accuracy on that changeup today.
Then she follows it up with heat, 74 miles an hour, and it's 0-2. We've done the math. When she's throwing 74, 75, you have 0.3 of a second, a little bit more than that, to react at the plate.
And then when she throws in the changeup, 65 miles per hour is an off-speed pitch coming out of her hand. It's impossible to be on time for both of those pitches, so you have to gear up for the fast in a 2-strike count. You've got to gear up for the fast and just react to the slower pitch. Not going to quite call it slow because it's not slow coming in.
That's fouled off of Cahalan, so she'll need a minute. She gets Katsoyanopoulos. We're even, 1-1.
Ooh, got her off the back foot. Oh, none of that feels good. Love the sense of humor that we're getting from Katsoyanopoulos back behind the plate, too, joking with Cahalan as she gets back in the batter's box.
Saying, look, after the game, I know where they keep the ice. Let's get together. 1-2.
I think she was joking, too, when McKenna Gibson, who's playing first base today, came over saying, hey, I didn't have to deal with these foul balls when I was playing first base yesterday. Now I'm having to wear them back behind the plate.
It's luxurious down at first base. 1-2. Ground ball, backhanded by Fall. The throw to first is not going to be in time, and Cahalan beats it out for her 3rd hit of the game.
Pickens throws Cahalan another fastball in this situation. Cahalan gets some pretty good barrel on it, hitting it up the middle, but the backhand by Bella Faw makes it a really close play at first base. Good pick by McKenna Gibson at first. Cahalan cheering as she reaches base safely after the call was made that she was safe.
Here's Jenna Johnson with 2 down and 1 on. Ground ball past Pickens up the middle for a base hit. Jenna Johnson has her 6th hit of the NCAA tournament. She was hit by a pitch, by the way, in the first inning, the 16th time she's been hit by a pitch, which ties The Alabama all-time record set in 2010 by Amanda Locke. Amanda had that locked down until Jenna got hit again. So she's smiling. Alabama's threatening. And here's Marley Giles. Giles takes ball one from Pickens. Pickens had retired 5 in a row before the infield single for Cahalan. Johnson followed with a single up the middle. Alabama trying to tack on a run. 2-0.
A couple of walks yesterday for Giles against Pickens. Did strike out looking on a really good-looking changeup in the 8th inning of yesterday's ball game. Hit a ground ball to short and then walked in the 13th.
On the 2-0 pitch, Giles swing and a miss, 2-1.
The confidence that Pickens has in that changeup, too, to throw it in a 2-0 count when she's behind in the count, knowing that Bama's going to be aggressive in that hitter leverage count, pulls the string on it. How about that? Back-to-back changeups, both swinging strikes, gets her back even in this count. 2-2, 2 away, 2 runners on for Bama. Does she go with a third here? Does she pull the string for the 3rd time in the row to Marley Giles?
It's bounced up there, wild pitch, and the runners will advance. Katsoyanopoulos tracks it down as Cahalan took a peek, rounding 3rd. Count now full to Giles.
She tried to go for 3 in a row, but just let go of that changeup a bit too soon, so it bounces on the dirt in front of Katsoyanopoulos.
Called strike 3. Pickens gets the strikeout to end the threat. Matt, I hope you got comfortable clothes, shoes, whatever it takes, because I think you guys are going to have a long, exciting night in the studio. It's already been a long, exciting day with Florida hanging on to beat Baylor to advance to the Women's College World Series for a 12th time. Duke, a program that started in 2018, hoping to get to Oklahoma City for the first time in their program history. Still to come tonight at Game 3 between LSU and Stanford, and that Texas A&M series has been off the rails.
Texas and Texas A&M just throwing punches back and forth in yesterday's ball game.
Almost literally.
That was game 1.
Be careful. Okay.
Ends up being Texas on top in Game 2, forcing it to a Game 3, Super Regional today.
Mueller with a pop-up leading off here in the 5th inning. That's White calling for it. 1 down for Brisky here in the 5th.
For Duke, searching for their first ever Women's College World Series appearance. How about the performance from Cassidy Kurt today? So far, she's gone all 8 innings, only giving up 3 hits to that Missouri offense.
Can have a pinch hitter here for Katsoyanopoulos as Gabby Leach will come to the plate. I think the Women's College World Series is going to be so exciting because you've got Oklahoma finding their way. We were talking about that yesterday, watching them in Oklahoma City in the Big 12 championship, getting the win against Texas. Texas A&M, you're going to have a really good team there. Florida, that's such a team, so good, such a great lineup, and they got these 2 outstanding freshman pitchers who just got them off on a right foot this year, and they've kept that momentum going right through to a super regional win in Gainesville today.
And Florida is quite literally a team that was returned 0 innings pitched from last year's team, so they had to rebuild in the pitcher's circle, and they've relied heavily on those freshmen, Keegan Rothrock and Ava Brown, in the circle for them. Got a couple of key transfers into their lineup offensively.
Back to Brisky on the first, 2 down as Leach is. There's a strike. They bounced back. They beat Florida State. Remember Kendra Falby's home run, that 15-13 game when she made it around the bases about 3 seconds?
We haven't seen scores like that in this Super Regional.
No, that's true. But moments where it doesn't look great for a team, and then all of a sudden you just find a spark. And you can say that about this Alabama team. Remember, they were sub-500 in the SEC, 10-14 in SEC play, their first ever sub-500 SEC record. And they have found something here in the postseason. and they are just now a few outs away from making it to the Women's College World Series.
That's the best part about making it to the NCAA tournament. It is a clean slate. It doesn't matter what happened in the regular season. Once you make it to the tournament, you're just finding any way possible to win, to survive, to advance, to play with your team just one more day. And that's what Alabama really has held on to. Trying to treat this Game 3 in this Super Regional with all of the outside noise, with everything that's hanging in the balance in this ball game, treating it like opening day. A fresh start for this team.
2-2 the count to Faw. This is grounded to Cahalan. Backs up on it, throws to first. What a performance so far by Jocelyn Brisky. A 1-2-3 inning in the fifth. 4-0 from Jenna Johnson and her classmates. The Tuscaloosa Regional MVP last week after going 5 for 9 with 3 runs batted in and 3 runs scored. She had a home run last year in that Game 3 of the Super Regional against Northwestern, getting Alabama to the Women's College World Series. Held off by Riley Valentine.
You heard Jenna Johnson talking about it too, how they've learned from their ups and their downs in this season, trying to figure out how they click best as an offense, how they click best as a defense. Battling through a couple of injuries here and there, but they want to make sure that they are peaking here at the end of the season.
Valentine down on strikes, 1 away.
That one almost looked like it was in between speeds. Look at that late bite down in the zone too. I guarantee Riley Valentine thought that pitch was going to end up further up in the zone, but the late bite bringing it down into that strike zone, I think that was a strike either way on the swing and on the pitch.
Here's Bailey Dowling 0 for 1 with a walk. Strike 1. Dowling, another one of those senior leaders for this Alabama team, hoping her career will continue in Oklahoma City starting on Thursday. The thing about Dowling and Johnson, both have been through a lot, battling injuries. Dowling had a season-ending injury as a freshman. Johnson had a dislocated kneecap back in 2021. Missed 5 weeks. So they've been through a lot. Trying to go out on top here in the Knoxville Super and keep the thrill ride going in OKC. They just have to find room in the overhead bin for all the things that they've compiled here over the last week.
The amount of stuff keeps growing in the dugout too. Not just the rally worm on the rally stick, I guess we could call it, the stick that they found.
Now
in the
consider it a
parking lot.
fishing pole.
Yes,
Yep.
the fishing pole that they found in the parking lot in Tuscaloosa. You've got Riley Valentine with the rally worm, and also Rally Valentine standing next to her.
Dowling fouls it off.
There's a boombox. There's a crown. Were those microphones? Am I singing microphones in the dugout?
I think we've got some karaoke going on as well.
Okay.
Two and two. Pickens in the first 2 games of this Super Regional throwing 230 pitches. This is sent out to center field. Malloy is there for it. 2 down. So now up to 276 pitches Friday, Saturday, and here on Sunday.
With the amount of pitches that she's thrown, it's really incredible that the velocity is still up where it is. Able to pump it in there 73, 74 miles per hour. And it just feels like that changeup has been a big pitch for her today, too. We've talked about it the last 2 games. Maybe not as consistent with the command of the off-speed pitch. Well, she has found it today.
Trying to keep it a 4-run game and hoping that the bats can come to life here for Tennessee with 6 outs remaining here in Game 3. This is out to Malloy, who comes in on it to retire Esmond, to retire the side. 1-2-3 inning for Pickens. To try to get a rally going. Also a part of it can be Kiki Malloy perhaps having her final at-bat in her illustrious Tennessee career.
A couple of strikeouts for Kiki today, one on a rise ball, one on a drop ball back in the third inning. Brisky starts her off in this at-bat with a changeup, misses low for a ball, goes back with that drop ball low and inside, misses for ball number 2. Another one of these high hitter leverage counts, 2-0 counts that you might see Tennessee be aggressive in.
Malloy hits it hard, but right to the shortstop. Cahalan has it. One away. So Kiki Malloy now puts it in the hands of her teammates. Hit it hard, just in the wrong spot.
Got the pitch that she wanted, just hit it straight to Cahalan at shortstop. Got underneath the drop ball a little bit too.
There's another Tennessee senior, Riley West.
Hit a drop ball right on the money in her last at-bat. Line drive over to Callie Hevelin at second base, who robbed her of a base hit, probably an extra base hit.
1-1. West 0 for 2. Now 5 for 18 in the NCAA tournament. Was really good in the Knoxville Regional. Where Tennessee went 3-0. The 2-0 pitch. This one is hit to Cahalan, who's got it, who's got another out. 2 down here in the 6th.
Back-to-back ground ball outs over to Kenley Cahalan at shortstop. These righties trying to make an adjustment on that, even going back to the 5th inning. 3 ground balls in a row that have been hit to Cahalan over at shortstop. Just speaks to that late movement that Brisky has on her pitches, that these Tennessee batters haven't been able to get the ball up in the air.
Tennessee saw Brisky in game 1. She went an inning and a third, gave up 1 hit through 13 pitches. Saw her in game 2, the 14-inning win for Alabama. She went 4 innings, got the start in that game, gave up 5 hits through 49 pitches. She has looked like a different pitcher here tonight. She has been, as you mentioned right from the very start, a little amped up, maybe a little extra velocity. Hasn't made but a few mistakes. This one in on the hands of Cahalan's got another one. It is all Brisky right now, and Alabama 3 outs away from a trip to Oklahoma City, up 4 in this game 3 in the Knoxville Super Regional. Alabama in front 4-0. We're in the 7th inning. Harlan Pickens on in relief after Bama scored 4 in the first. That's it for our scoring. We went 14 innings yesterday. Tennessee's going to need a comeback in the 7th to keep their season going. 0-2 the count to Hevelin.
The rally worm is still alive and well in that Alabama dugout in the hands of Riley Valentine.
She hits grand slams. She orchestrates parties in the dugout. I just missed.
She's reeling in hits. Is that what she said? She was reeling in hits.
Gotcha. One and 2 the count to Hevelin, who's 0 for 2 tonight. Fly ball to right. Panels there. 1 down here in the 7th for Alabama. Back to the top of the order. Kristen White 0 for 3 today. It went officially into the books yesterday in the 14th inning as a fielder's choice. We agree that she would have beaten it out for a base hit. Doesn't matter.
You know, my officially unofficial scorebook, I had it written down as a base hit, infield base hit, but either way, scored the game-winning walk-off run for Alabama to keep their season alive.
She executed exactly how she needed to in that moment, and for a second time against Tennessee this year in the regular season. Scoreless game in the 5th inning. after a Cahalan triple. Hit a chopper that Mueller couldn't get the runner at the plate, so it was a 1-0 Alabama win. And then with the game in the 14th inning and the bases loaded, White came through. 0 for 4 today, but it was her contact yesterday that has helped put us in this position where we are in a winner-take-all Game 3 in Knoxville.
It was that swing by Kristen White, the pitching performance by Kayla Beaver yesterday, the pitching that we're seeing from Jocelyn Brisky for Alabama today. You've got a bunch of different people for Alabama that have stepped up in the last 2 games.
Second at bat for Lauren Johnson, who scored the winning run yesterday for Alabama after a pinch hit single on the only pitch she saw to get things going in the 14th. And it's White being the spark at the top of the lineup and putting the ball in play to bring in Johnson. It's Johnson with the pinch hit. It's Beaver in the circle. It's Brisky today. I think you can keep going down the list and name every Alabama player, and their fingerprints are on what we've seen here in the Tuscaloosa Regional and certainly in this Knoxville Super Regional.
Whether it's what they did at the plate in the circle defensively.
Grounded to second. The throw over the first by Faw. Johnson retired. 2 down. Has been outstanding in the circle for Alabama. Time is called before the first pitch. And with the first pitch, Gibson is hit, so a base runner is aboard here for Tennessee in the 7th.
All of a sudden, just that one pitch, you can just hear it getting louder and louder on that Tennessee side, trying to do whatever they can to spark a rally against Jocelyn Brisky in the circle. Kayla Beaver looking on in that Alabama bullpen.
Beaver at the ready. For the moment, it is Brisky's game in the circle. Pinch runner comes on for Tennessee. Katie Taylor will run for Gibson. Just get the feeling Patrick Murphy's going to see how Brisky responds after the hit batter. What happens with this next batter for Tennessee? If that batter gets on, if it's 2 on, nobody out, do you then go with Beaver? Would that be the choice for Murphy, or does he think about it right now? He's still pacing outside the dugout. They're cleaning up Bailey Dowling's cleats. We saw that yesterday.
Well, Brisky's thrown so well today that I'm not surprised that we're seeing her here in the bottom of the 7th inning. She's just given up 2 hits. One of them was to McKenna Gibson, the other one to Laura Mueller in the 7th spot in the lineup.
Here's Nugent, 0 for 1 with a walk. Swings at the first pitch and bloops it out to left center field. It drops down for a base hit. Going from first to third is Taylor. The throw in the second. Runners on the corners for Tennessee. Nobody out. Bottom of the 7th.
When you look through this Tennessee order, there are a couple of swings that just seem to be tailor-made for drop balls. One of those is Sophia Nugent, and she wastes no time in this at-bat, capitalizes on that momentum and drops this ball out into center field for a base hit. Kristen White ends up taking charge, throwing that ball into second base to keep the runners on the corners. Nobody away, and the Lady Vols with the rally in the bottom of the 7th.
Murphy coming out to the circle. Beaver getting loose in the bullpen. Keep the line moving.
And these are the adjustments that Coach Karen Weekly was talking about. Hunting a specific pitch or location and having a swing path and barrel path that matches up with the spot that you're looking for.
Panel bunting out in front. Brisky plays it, throws to first. Safe at first. The play at the plate. Safe at home. Tennessee's on the board. First and second, nobody out. 4-1 Bama. It took a split second for Brisky to make the transfer to get a good grip at C. Madison, and that was all that panel needed.
It just felt like that bunt developed slowly to Jocelyn Brisky. It's put down perfectly in front of home plate. And you're right, that split second that it took for Brisky to get rid of that ball Hanel's going to be safe at first base, and then Katie Taylor taking off as soon as she saw Brisky throw to first base, able to dive in safely for the first run of the ball game.
Here's Laura Mueller. The tying run is at the plate for Tennessee with nobody out. There's a strike.
Mueller had a double off of Brisky back in the third inning. Come to find out, it was supposed to be a drop ball low and outside that Brisky missed up in the zone that Mueller was able to capitalize on.
Mueller with a ground ball to Cahalan, flips it over to third for the force, and Alabama has a big out. First and second with one down now for Tennessee.
The freshman bearing down in a high-pressure situation, knowing that Mueller had success against her earlier in this ball game. She goes back to her bread and butter, goes back to that drop ball, and lets the left side of the infield work for her.
Ball one. And they're saying Brockenbrough got hit. Hang on a second. Brockenbrough saying she got hit. Did the plate umpire say she got hit? Umpires are going to have a conference here. In the confusion, Mueller kind of left first base, so you got two players down at first base. I thought I heard ball from the plate umpire, and Brockenbrough trying to sell the hit by pitch. I think we're going to go to replay here.
The previous play is under review on an umpire challenge to see if the ball made contact with the batter.
Well, there's an umpire challenge, so that does not necessarily make it clear what the call was on the field. Could have grabbed a part of the uniform, but part of the thing that we need to know as well was the call on the field a ball or a hit by pitch? And then are we
back-to-back lefties now that Coach Karen Weekly's brought in to face Kayla Beaver, and she's somebody that likes to establish the inside part of the plate, not just to the right-handed batters, but also to the left-handed batters. It was windy earlier today, Eric, but we are not seeing any wind now.
Leach 3 for 7 as a pinch hitter this season, steps in with the bases loaded. Ball one.
Back-to-back drop balls that Kayla Beaver's thrown in this at-bat. Both of them balls. 2-0 count, now hitter leverage count. Bases loaded situation. You've got Kiki Malloy sitting right on deck, the senior trying to keep her season alive.
2-1. Foul ball, the count now 2-2. Leach 0 for 1 at the plate in the tournament, in a big spot here with the season on the line for Tennessee. Bases loaded, 1 out, and the 2-2.
Kayla Beaver's numbers against right-handed hitters and left-handed hitters are pretty even. Her batting average against righties is 197. Batting average against lefties is 194.
Another 2-2. We'll do it again. Janet Gibson was hit by a pitch. Nugent singled. Panel reached on a bunt single. Mueller grounded into a fielder's choice. Brockenbrough hit by a pitch. And now Leach battling at the plate for Tennessee.
Took a big hack at that inside pitch. Actually ended up fouling it off of her own leg, it seemed. Battling with 2 strikes, fouling off pitches all over the strike zone. She's fouled off a drop ball, fouled off a rise ball. Yeah, that one got her right on the thigh.
Another 2-2 to the freshman from Texas. Popped up, foul ground. Dowling moving over's got room. 2 down. Fittingly, it comes down to Kiki Malloy. One of the greatest players in Tennessee history. One of the great players in college softball over the last several years. She steps in with the season on the line for Tennessee. Bases loaded, 2 out.
You can see her even talking to herself when she steps into the box, trying to zone out all of those outside feelings, focus on that game plan, focus just one pitch at a time.
Ground ball to the shortstop. Cahalan to first, and the Alabama Crimson Tide Ball one. And they're saying Brockenbrough got hit. Hang on a second. Brockenbrough saying she got hit. Did the plate umpire say she got hit? Umpires are going to have a conference here. In the confusion, Mueller kind of left first base, so you got two players down at first base. I thought I heard ball from the plate umpire, and Brockenbrough trying to sell the hit by pitch. I think we're going to go to replay here.
The previous play is under review on an umpire challenge to see if the ball made contact with the batter.
Well, there's an umpire challenge, so that does not necessarily make it clear what the call was on the field. I mean, it could have grabbed a part of the uniform, but part of the thing that we need to know as well was the call on the field a ball or a hit by pitch, and then are we